The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Whether you're new to sales or a lifetime veteran, the Blackbelt Sales Podcast will sharpen your sword and guide you to master the art of sales. And now, here's your host, the ninja himself, Gene Slade.
What's up, my ninjas? Good to see you today. Super stoked to have runner-up season 6 MasterChef Derrick Fox in the house today. What's up, Derrick? Good to see you, man.
What's going on, Gene? Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure, man. So Derrick is a friend of the family, and like I said, runner-up season 6, and he's also in the top 20 at least. We can't really release a whole lot right now, right? He's under NDAs and stuff like that, so he's not going to be able to give up Gordon Ramsay's business, right? But we know you're at least in the top 20, right?
I'm in the top 20. It's all been filmed. It's all in the can. Gosh. And we filmed this last year during COVID. So it's been a secret that I've had to just bear for far too long.
Oh, it's gut-wrenching.
Yeah. So it's been nice to finally say, like, yo, I got an apron. Top 20, the apron's on. The episodes are airing. So that part's exciting. But yeah, it's hard. I mean, can you imagine like this huge secret and holding on to it for like literally 7 months?
No, it's hard enough to hold on to a secret for a day.
Yeah, let's like pretend, and I can't say if I won or not, but pretend you have a briefcase with $250,000 in it, and you gotta hide it from everybody for 6 months.
Yeah.
8 months, 9 months, really.
Don't go spend no money. Don't look flashy. That's crazy.
I've been buying sushi like crazy lately. Somebody said, "You're buying sushi like you won this thing."
So it airs on Fox, right? What day of the week?
Yeah, Wednesdays on Fox at 8 p.m. 7 Central, East Coast 8 p.m. Central 7 p.m. and then the West Coast we have to wait, which is kind of a bummer. Like all my fans in Florida, they watch at 8 o'clock. And I'm sitting here at 5 p.m. over in LA waiting for the time to go by.
So tell us a little bit about your journey. But before we do that, guys, if you're watching this live, please just put live in the comments for us. And if you're watching it on a replay, please put replay in the comments. Again, we don't ask for much here other than some engagement. So if you're going to enjoy this, if you're going to get some nuggets out of it, give back. I appreciate it. So please tell us, Derrick, about your journey. Where did you start and how did you get to this point, right? And now, just so everybody knows, we're going to talk a little bit later. Derrick also does some appearance speaking type gigs. And he also, if you got the cash, he'll actually come to your house and he'll cook you a dinner. So there is a minimum fee, but we'll talk about that later. So tell us about your journey.
And to touch on that, apparently what you guys have told me is I'm not charging enough. So
yeah, unfortunately, we put our foot in our mouth like that quite a bit. Excuse the planes flying above. We're right next to the airport here.
Oh, used to it in LA. I get woken up at 4 o'clock every morning. The first plane takes off out of LAX, and I'm a good like 7 miles from LAX, but you still hear it.
So your journey, brother.
My journey has been pretty crazy. It's kind of like a lifelong destiny kind of journey. I didn't really choose to do this. It found me. I was playing drums in a rock band in high school, and out of high school we toured the country, and I landed in LA in 2006 with the band. And I mean, we were an independent band selling our merchandise, selling our CDs. 2006, it was 4 of us and a merch guy. And in 3 months, we made $80,000 as 19-year-olds with a bus and a bunch of music equipment. And
Did I hear you say you were selling something?
yeah, we were selling CDs and T-shirts.
Got it.
And
$80,000 in T-shirts and CDs, guys. Come on.
Yeah, T-shirts, CDs, and booking fees.
Right.
We got some advice from a mentor, because we had our own PA system, and we were doing these gigs, and this mentor told us, "Hey, you paid for that PA system, but the client, whoever is hiring you or whatever venue's hiring you, doesn't know your details about the PA system. Charge them a rental fee." And then right there, we were making $1,500 more a day just because we had our own PA system, and we were charging the venue the rent for it. Because if they wanted us to play and we had to show up without a PA, they would need to go rent a PA somewhere.
Right.
So we were just the middleman for our PA system. And then that just like, boom, it was like, oh, we can charge for everything. Our merch guy, we're like, oh, he's also a roadie. We need $400 extra to have our guys carry our shit in. And it was just like, we really started understanding the business behind like the music business. And that's kind of helped me as a traveling chef, is I've taken all that knowledge from my music career and brought it into my private chef career, brought it into my cookie business. It's like, when I show up, I charge my fee, and then there's my fee for shopping for the groceries. There's my fee for the groceries. Do I need to rent plates? Like, do you have enough plates for me to do 5 courses for 10 people? That's 50 plates.
Wow.
Do you have that? No. So it's like, it's that kind of breakdown. And I learned all that from the music business. So it's been actually kind of like a smooth sailing.
Options.
Yeah, it's been.
We would
smooth
call those
sailing
options in the trades, right? For
Yeah.
a lot of the people that I serve, they don't. A lot of times they don't go out to a call and give the client all of the options.
Yeah, because it is touch and go. You know, it's all about like feeling out your client. Some clients, you can tell they're like, we want everything. We'll spend whatever it takes. We want to have the best night. You know, I'm my perfect client. I'm like, let's have everything. I want 10 courses. I want all the plates. I want all the jazz. Hire a musician, hire a bartender, do the whole thing. You know, and so but then there's some clients that you can tell they literally want the cheapest version of you.
Right.
And since my product's kind of intangible in that way, where it's me showing up and cooking,
Ooh,
I can't scale it all.
There's a nugget right there. They can't buy you anywhere else.
Yeah. They can't. And when I first started out, I had my prices really, really low, and I ended up in for 2 people that I was like, never again. I went home and tripled my prices because I was like, I cannot put myself in that position.
Yeah.
It was sketchy. It was, you know, it wasn't a nice kitchen. It was very awkward.
Got it. Got any hot plates that I can heat this up with?
It was literally like MasterChef challenges are 1 course in an hour. I did 3 courses in 45 minutes to get the fuck out.
All right. So continue with the journey.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, you know, I come from an Italian family. Everything revolved around the kitchen. And cooking food was like therapy for me. So when I was on the road with the band, you know, coming home, like the first thing I wanted to do was cook. I just wanted to cook, and I would cook for the band. I'd cook for girls. Like, that was kind of like, in high school, I didn't have a lot of money. Like, my parents weren't giving me an allowance. And my dad was like, yo, if you want to impress a girl, cook for her. Bring her over. We'll go fuck off, and you can use the kitchen. And so, like, that was kind of like I was like, oh, that kind of works, right? So that's kind of
Remember
well,
this, man. Feed the woman.
It's all about it. It's like, why do we have a nice car? Why do we dress nice? If there wasn't women, we would just be bums, dude. So that's kind of how it started. And then when I was in the band and we landed in LA, LA's expensive. So we had to have jobs also while we were playing music. And I got a job as a server at a nice restaurant, making great money, you know, and I could decide my schedule, which was that was the nice thing about the restaurant industry. But like, I got really inspired by the chef. I was watching him work all the time, and I'd go stand by him at the pass and watch all the food that he was putting together. And I would go home and I would try to recreate it. And then, you know, I would be cooking for friends and family members, and they're like, you need two things. They'd be like, you need to open a restaurant and you need to go on a cooking show. And I was like, I don't want to do either. I was like,
right?
I
just
really enjoy. Sorry, say that again.
I just want to cook.
Yeah, it was therapy for me. I just wanted to cook. And when I auditioned for MasterChef, it was kind of like I was down and out. The band I was with was falling apart. The serving job I had, I lost, and for reasons that were actually pretty messed up. But that's a whole different story. And I was just like, I was down and out, and I was just like, fine, I'll audition for a cooking show. And I actually emailed Chopped first, and I got no reply. Because I was like, I'll just go win 10 grand real quick. And
right.
and back then 10 grand was like a lot of money. It was like, that would get me through the rest of the year. Now it doesn't get me through a month. Right. But so then I was like, what am I doing? I emailed MasterChef. And I was like, I've watched every episode of everything Gordon Ramsay has ever done.
Oh, Kitchen Nightmares from the beginning.
Oh, that's
Hell's
an amazing
Kitchen.
show.
Yeah.
I've seen them all. So I emailed MasterChef. No joke. I sent the email. I got up. I went into this kitchen right over here. I brewed some coffee. I went out and my phone rang. It was that fast. And that changed everything. Now I am a full-time private chef for different celebrities and high net worth families that travel the world. They cook on private jets. Like, everything changed. And
wow.
And
cooking on private jets, you've got to have a kitchen in the jet, y'all.
Yeah. There has been one time where there's not a kitchen.
Oh no.
And I was in the back of the plane. I pulled down the tray table and I put together. Luckily, it was all like cold. I was doing like chicken salad wraps and some cheese plates and some cookies it was fine. I put it together, but I didn't have it was one flight. I didn't have a kitchen, and that was rough.
That's FU money right there when you bring somebody on just to wrap some tortillas and chicken salads and stuff.
Yeah.
I
give
love
the client what they like. Me personally, I would be like, I want a breakfast burrito. If I was 30,000 feet in the air and I had my choice, I'd be like, give me a burrito.
Oh, have you been to Haney's here in town?
That's amazing that you said that. I am longtime friends with Haney's. My first job was at Haney's when they had the beach location.
Yep.
Vern is a really good friend of mine. Tracy taught me everything I know about serving, and
wow,
she would make hand over fist cash down the beach. She showed me the ropes, and I brought that mentality out to LA. And actually, like, through my whole life, she taught me how to hustle. So Haney's is deep in my blood.
Oh, I love it. They have the reason I ask is because they've got a Torpedo Veracruz breakfast burrito that is just freaking to die for. I didn't know whether or not you'd had it yet. If you next time you come into town,
when I used to go in and eat there, I would get their Monterey chicken wrap. Oh,
yeah.
And then Ruben, the guy, I'm drawing a blank on his name. The guy they've had cooking back there forever. He makes a mean Reuben. But yeah, when I had my food truck business, when I had my self-serve frozen yogurt food truck, I used Haney's as my commissary kitchen. So I stored all my like yogurt and stuff at their kitchen. And then they ended up buying the food truck from me. So yeah, Haney's is
That's crazy, man. That's absolutely
crazy.
So in season 6, you're on MasterChef. What are some of the like, what did it take to make it to even the show? Like, I imagine that there's like a bunch of people that they call, and then only so many people make it onto the show, right?
Yeah, so I'll tell you both, season 6 and season 12. Season 6, when I emailed them, they called me and they asked me a bunch of questions, and then they're like, we want to set you up with a VIP audition, which was at a hotel in Hollywood. And they were like, it's going to be on this day, and you need to bring a dish, but bring it in individual components because you're going to plate the dish for not the judges on TV, but the culinary team that's casting. And I was like, okay. And they're like, don't worry about heat. You're going to just come, you're going to plate this dish. And I was still like, I worried about heat. So yeah. I tried to keep everything warm. That was a mistake because I was doing a scallop dish. And I put my scallops in this warmer to keep them warm. And they ended up they just kept cooking and releasing moisture. And they were just like, they went from giant scallops like this to like tiny little erasers. And I had to explain to them, I was like, anyway, get to the audition, you audition, there's 50 people in the room, there's thousands of people outside in the waiting room waiting to get in. They bring you in 50 at a time. They put 3 minutes on the clock, and they're like, plate your dish. And that 3 minutes is the fastest 3 minutes of your life. And so I plate this dish, and it looks good, but it doesn't look great because I tried to keep it warm. And then I had to show them on my phone. I was like, this is what the dish looked like last night when I made it. I was like, please don't judge this. And they actually took that into consideration.
There it was like,
so, yeah, exactly. I was like, I'm not letting this be it. I was like, I had to sell myself.
Now, this is the mindset thing, y'all. A lot of people would be defeated already going into the room with their shoulders down, hunched over, and they'd be finished.
Yeah. And that was a moment where I really, I was like, I'm fucked. But like coming from being in a band, there's there's no like give up mentality. It's very similar to like military. It's like keep pushing forward.
The show must go on.
Yeah, the show must go on. Exactly. So I showed him the dish. I showed him the photo. And then I got called to the next round. And the next round was an interview process. And then another interview. And then another interview. And this is all the same day. It was like an 8-hour day. And then they hand me they come over like super secret. It was just like one guy, like super nonchalant. And he hands me this envelope. He goes, stick this in your pocket. He goes, don't look at it till you get to your car. He goes, we're not giving this to everybody. You've made it to the next round. So don't show this to anybody and follow the instructions when you get to your car. I'm like, what James Bond shit is this? And so I walk out to the car, I open the envelope, and it's like Monday at 10 a.m. be at this address. And it was just like that. It was just like a paper. And it was like one paragraph, wear this, be here at this time. And I did, and I went. And then I did that interview. And when I was sitting in that interview...
That was an interview.
Yeah. It was an on-camera interview. They had the MasterChef logo behind me. No one saw it except for Fox executives and producers. And then sitting out in the lobby is a bunch of other hopefuls. And I'm sitting in this interview.
Now, how many people made it to this stage?
That I don't know. I know that
thousands.
I know that 40,000 people auditioned for the show. This stage was probably 10,000.
Jesus.
so I get to this interview, and then they're like, "Are you good?" They're like, "Are we good? Do we like Derrick?" And they're like, "Yeah." And then they hand me another envelope. They're like, "Tuck this in your pocket. Don't let anyone out there. I'm not making this up. Don't let anyone out there see this. Go to your car, open this when you get home, and do everything that it says on this paper." And I was like,
hang on
okay.
a second. For those of you who are watching, if you have a question for Derrick, now is the time for you to put it in the comments, and we can get to it a little bit later. All right. If you've got a question about anything right now, post your questions below. Go ahead. Keep going, Derrick.
For sure. So then I take that paper and I go home, and it's like they wanted all these videos. I mean, it was like homework. They wanted videos of everything in my cabinets, everything in my refrigerator, everything in my closet. They wanted video of the outside of my apartment. They wanted video of my car. They wanted video of everything. It was like they were really like doing a whole profile, like an FBI profile on me. And so I did all that, and then it all came into play later. And I'm a perfectionist. I was like, I'm not going to show them my refrigerator without it being stocked full of the best ingredients. So I filled my refrigerator with the best ingredients. I had Chilean sea bass, I had lamb, I had all these vegetables, I had all these herbs, I had everything. And then
you were selling it, man.
One of the first challenges on MasterChef was, hey, remember that video you sent in of your refrigerator? Lift up your box. Everything that's under your box was in your refrigerator. So there was like one guy, like Nick Nappy, he only had Bloody Mary mixed. And he had to make a dish with that. And I was like, I'm set. I had the best refrigerator. So it's like, the moral of that story is put your best foot forward anytime you can. You never know. And I kind of get the vibe of where you're at is you never know when you're in the business of any kind of sales, you're always selling. And you never know when that moment's going to arrive. And I'll even tell a little story. I was dating a girl when I was in the band, and we had just come off this amazing tour. We were playing for 2,000 kids a day, and this was that tour we made the 80 grand on. So I was home with her. It was like 9:30. I was like, let's go to the movies. She's like, cool. She put on pajamas, and I put on a nice outfit. And she's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm getting dressed. We're going out. She goes, yeah, but we're going to the movies. I was like, and I hated saying this. I was like, I don't know who I'm going to run into. I was like, there could be fans of my band, and I got to look good. And she laughed at me. We go to the movies. We're a little early. They're cleaning our theater, so we're sitting in the lobby. And we're sitting there, and then out of one of the theater, like 8 14-year-old kids that had just watched me on stage 2 weeks prior came out of this movie theater, saw me, freaked out, came running down the hall, all wanted to take pictures with me. And I was like, and then I did. I was like, cool. We did all the pictures. They left. They were super excited. And then I turned to her, and I was like, see?
Who are you laughing at?
Yeah. Exactly. So it's one of those things you just never know.
Being prepared for success and prepared for the next person that might be able to utilize what it is that you offer.
Yeah. And, it's one thing that really was very prominent with MasterChef and anything else when you're in the business of yourself is when opportunity presents itself, there's no more time to prepare. So you got to be ready.
Write that down.
Yeah. So that's been something I live by, like I'm always ready.
Yeah, I interrupted you because was there something else that you wanted to say after that? I just got so excited about that I wanted to make sure that our team wrote it down.
No, that was it. When opportunity presents itself, there's no more time to prepare. You got to always be ready.
Love it.
Yeah.
So anything else on the journey so far?
Well, making it on the MasterChef, they after I sent in all the videos, like 2 months went by, and then they were like, they're like, congratulations, you made it to the next round. We need you to submit this, and this, and then you do that. And then
Jesus.
a month went another month went by. Congratulations, you made it to the next round. You're in the top 100. Pack your bags for 5 days or 3 months. We don't know how long you're going to be here. You're not on camera yet. And it was like, you're in the top 100. And so we go to a hotel, and there's 100 of us, and we've packed for 3 months. And then we're doing on-camera auditions, cooking in front of Fox executives and the culinary team, and then they're deciding who makes it. And then they finally tell you that you're in the top 40, and then the top 40 makes it to camera, and they're like, you got to compete for the top 20 to get an apron. And then that's what you guys see on TV. So with MasterChef season 12, everyone has already done it. So the thing with this season was they just called. They were like, we need you to submit dishes. We need you to submit a bunch of photos and outfits, and then we're going to decide. And then they called back and they were, congratulations, you made it to the on-camera. You don't know how long you're going to be here. Pack your bags.
So season 12 is a competition from runners-up and the like.
Yeah. Season 12 is all the like fan favorites that did not win.
Got it.
Of MasterChef. So from every season, from season 1 to season 11, there's somebody. And from my season, there's the most people. There's 6 or 7 people from my season 6, which is obnoxious. So that actually, before that happened, just before MasterChef called, the idea sparked in my head to do a podcast about people that have been on reality competitions that have not won. Anywhere from America's Got Talent to American Idol, RuPaul's Drag Race. So I started a podcast called A Bunch of Losers with Derrick Fox. And I just launched it. It's been great. It's brand new.
Where can they find it?
It's on YouTube, it's on Spotify, and it's on Apple Podcasts everywhere.
Say the name again.
A Bunch of Losers with Derrick Fox. YouTube is video. Spotify has video. I can't believe we got video on Spotify. I don't know how my production team did it, but I'm stoked about that because I thought Joe Rogan was the only one that had.
Hey, team, I need you to look at that right now. I need you to look at that. How do we get video on Spotify? Because I
don't know how they did it, but we got video on Spotify. And the video is important because So I have a lot of guests that are from MasterChef or Next Level Chef, and I'm going to have some Hell's Kitchen people on. So I do have chefs, but then I like to take people that have not been in the chef world and give them a little taste of the chef world. So with every guest, I do a blind taste test. So we put the blindfold on, and I feed my guests different bites of food.
Oh my gosh.
And I have them try and guess what it is, and it's the best. Like, you would never think something so simple is so funny. And so that makes it really good for video. It's worth watching. And also, I had next week, so Thursday, this coming Thursday, I had Honey Davenport from RuPaul's Drag Race. So it's also important to see it video because, like, I have a drag queen on in full drag, and it's crazy. And the first thing she says, she sits down, she goes, how long is this going to be? Because I'm sitting on my dick.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, holy shit, this is how this podcast is starting. All right, here we go.
This is going to be a wild one. This one's going to get some attention and engagement.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know if that's too much to share for this podcast.
No, it's not. It's not. Our people, we've got a lot of conservatives, but they're contractors, a lot of them. So they're is about as rough and tumble as you can get. You're not going to offend anybody here.
Yeah, and that's what's kind of cool about my podcast is since I'm taking on anyone that's been on a reality show that has not won, there's people from all different walks of life because that's what they want in reality TV. They want people from everything. So I'm getting to sit down with people that I wouldn't normally talk to. And I mean, I spent 2 hours talking to a drag queen, and like, it's kind of good and eye-opening. Like, even if you are conservative, like that's what I love about listening to Joe Rogan is I don't agree with everything that everyone
Yeah.
has on there, but like I purposely listen to the people that I know I don't like that person. I'm like, whatever reason in the media, I don't like that person.
Right.
I'm gonna listen because I want to know what that person's thinking because it's all information and it helps. It helps you whether you like it or not at the end of the day, right?
A salesperson's two best friends: silence and questions. Sit there, be quiet, listen, and people will tell you how to sell them. Number one, but you'll find out about something about the person, right?
Yeah.
It's so unfortunate that a lot of times, because of our opinion about somebody, we won't listen.
Yeah.
So open up your mind a little bit, people. Listen to other human beings. Just because they have a different opinion doesn't mean that you're not still connected.
Yeah. No, you can be. And for me, it all goes back to the music business. When we were recording our first album with this, second album with this producer, Steve Evans, he did Story of the Year albums. He's done some amazing albums. And when we showed up, when you're doing a record, you do something called pre-production, where you go into a studio and you play all your songs for the producer, and they listen to where they're gonna like develop your music, basically. And he came to me, and he goes, "Derrick, you're a good drummer, but if you shut up and listen, I can make you a great drummer." And it hurt, It was like, wait, what? Like. And I just it was gobsmacked. And I was like, okay. It was like that moment. It was like ego check. It was like, okay, I got to shut up and listen. And then I did. And I listened to everything he said and I did everything he said. And then we ended up with songs that we're still listening to today. So yeah, those are pivotal moments in everything. Whatever business you're in, you do have to just kind of check your ego and listen.
Mm-hmm. So we had a question come in from Corey earlier, and I'm going to summarize because it's not up on the screen right now. There you go. What do you say to guys that can't cook for the girls?
3 words. Let's get sushi.
Yes, I agree 100%.
If you're trying to take a girl out, which Corey looks like he's not having a problem with girls. He's got a couple kids in his profile photo there. If you can't cook for the girl, 9 times out of 10 she's gonna like sushi, and if she doesn't like sushi, move on to the next.
I was actually gonna say just call you and have you come out and cook.
Yeah, I'm more expensive than sushi though, so
and more impressive, right? And more impressive. Was there another question up there, Brittany? Did you go to any culinary schools or just hands-on with your own experiences?
That's a great question. Here's the deal about culinary school. And I did not go to culinary school. And I would actually...
I did not go to trade school.
I would actually consider going to culinary school now after being in the business for like 7-8 years. But here's the deal. If you go to culinary school, you're coming out with whatever your $50,000, $100,000 debt is. Ooh. And then when you go to the restaurant that you want to work at or the catering company that you want to work at, you're going to start at the same place as the guy that's just knocking on the back door asking for a job, because they want to know, can you handle the kitchen? Can you execute prep? And most guys that are knocking on the back door have more experience than anyone that's gone to culinary school. I was at a restaurant one time, and this guy was fresh out of culinary school, and he did not know how to cut an avocado. And it was
how many of you have seen guys go through technical school and they come out and they can't do anything? They got no real practical experience.
So I say with any kind of trade, especially when you have the internet, like you have this phone, like Google is right here. Anything you want to know, you can Google it, right?
The kids the other day, we got 6 kids, and they said, "Hey, Miss Brittany, how do you make French toast?" She said, "There's a freaking Alexa right next to the stove. Just ask it."
Guys, I mean, honestly, and I've always been ahead on this kind of stuff. I I've been saying for 10 years now, 10 years. I have friends that have a 10-year-old. And when they had their kid, they were all worried about school. And I was like, guys, public school is not going to be a thing one day. I don't know why it still is, especially because we have this technology and we have literally all the information is right here in this phone. So with any kind of trade, Google everything, listen, watch YouTube tutorials, get out there, get the experience, and you're going to be way further ahead in less time than anyone that went to any kind of trade school.
Amen.
And you'll have no debt. And
Yeah.
then for like cooking, for me, I feel like when I hit a certain financial peak, I am going to go because I want to know what they are teaching, because maybe there is something that I'm not learning on my own, and that will help me be better. Because as a chef, you're learning every day anyway. It doesn't matter. As long as you're reaching out to other chefs and putting yourself in uncomfortable situations and cooking recipes that you're not familiar with, you're constantly learning.
Yeah.
So I would absolutely go back. I would go into culinary school now, but I would not start there,
Well, and how many times do people go through and get an education, and then they go and they start to do that job, and that job is not what they expected it would be, and they're like, I don't want to do this. And either they feel stuck and they continue to do something that they don't want to do, that they're not passionate about, that it will never fulfill them, or they've got to start over.
Exactly. And I mean, the crazy thing about our world right now is it's very like everyone wants an outcome immediately
now.
And, the things that you put the time into, the podcasts that go on for like, I did not know like Tom Segura and his wife have had a podcast for 10 years. I just started listening to it this year. It's one of my favorite podcasts. But they've been doing it for 10 years. They've been grinding. It takes 10,000 hours, whatever it is. So do you want to go to school and put in hours there that are basically negative hours and then have debt? Or do you want to just get out there and start grinding?
Guys, that's 5 years, 40 hours a week. That's 5 years, 40 hours a week. He said take 10,000 hours to really get good at something. I don't even know that you can master it in that amount of time. Right.
Well, most things that you love aren't the thing that you're doing first. So it takes 10 years because you're doing it in the extracurricular, right? You're doing the serving job while you're trying to be a musician, or you're doing the landscaping job while you're trying to be an architect. So, you're only getting 20 hours a day after, 20 hours a week at the end of the day. So yeah, it takes a while, but it is, like someone said, it's a mindset. Mindset is everything. And I say this with my car too. I've been an early adopter of Tesla, and I've had crazy conversations with people that are like, well, where do I plug in? I'm like, do you have a house? I'm like, do you live in a house? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, great. You'll never be empty. Like, you don't have to go to a gas station. You don't have to go to a charging station. You have a house. It's only going to cost you if you just plug into the regular outlet. Not even talking about like a 240. Just the regular 110, plug it in. You'll get 50 miles a night. When you go to bed, you'll wake up, you'll have 50 miles added to your car. Most people don't drive that in a day. It'll cost you $15 a month. I'm like, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like that. It's a mindset is everything. And whatever most people are doing, whenever there's like something, like the pandemic was one of those things. It was like everyone was running to buy toilet paper.
How did that affect you? How did the pandemic affect you? And what did you pivot? Was there something that you had to do?
Yeah, well, the pandemic was great to me, but first of all, the toilet paper thing. Everyone's buying toilet paper. I bought a bidet.
We did too. I bought 2 of them.
Right, like it's like there's something there, right?
Yeah.
No, but the pandemic was actually really good for me.
That's so funny that you said that. Because that
Yeah.
was the first thing came in my mind. I was like, screw that. I'm not going to go out and fight for toilet paper.
Yeah.
Amazon, 2 bidets. Boom. They showed up with it.
And it's kind of a joke because I've had the bidet for like 5 years. The joke is that I have it, but
Right.
but the chaos of all of that was like, this is not right. I don't want to be a part of any of that.
Right.
When there's like chaos like that, I'm like, that's not good. The private chef business skyrocketed. The industry base salary doubled.
Is that because people weren't coming back to work?
No, it was because when COVID hit out here in California, where there's a lot of people that have private chefs, they couldn't go out to dinner. And they were like, we want good food. We don't know how to cook. We need our chefs. And like, I wasn't in the private chef business too much long before COVID. I was actually doing a lot of public events, traveling the world, doing pop-ups and doing private dinners, but one-off dinners, and doing restaurant work. And then right before COVID, I had booked a private job, and it was my first private job. It was probably about 8 months before COVID. I booked my first full-time private chef gig, and I loved it. But it was only temporary. It was only 3 months. It was with a royal family. And I was like, this is way better than anything. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And so then I pivoted, and then I landed another job that got me through the rest of the year, and that one wasn't great. And then the top of the year of 2020, I landed a really cool job with a really famous musician. And during that job, COVID hit. And like shit went crazy in the grocery stores. And this job was a big job. I actually had another chef. It was 2 of us that worked for this client because there were so many people in the house, and we didn't know what was going on. So we started stockpiling food, and we had 5 freezers in the house. This house was 30,000 square feet in Beverly Hills, which is massive. We had 5 freezers, and we filled all of them with just different types of just like pot roasts and, you know, casseroles and shit, because we didn't know if we were going to get locked down in our homes, and we're like, we needed to make sure they needed to eat. And as a chef, like, you think about other people before you think about yourself. I had nothing at my house. And then when they did lock us down, I luckily had a catering event that same week that got canceled. So I had all the food from the catering event that I shoved in my freezer that became my my backstock. Or else I'd had nothing. We had short ribs for weeks. But anyway, and then my phone just started ringing. It was like every high net worth person I knew was calling me, and they were like, we need a chef. We need a chef. And then and here's what's crazy is, before I went into the private chef business, the industry standard for salary was about $70K, $80K a year. And when I got in, now the standard is 120 to 150, which is crazy.
Significant.
Yeah, it doubled, which was like, and I was watching it double, and it was because the world just went crazy.
Tony Archie, thank you for that live. Guys, if you're watching this live, will you please do us a favor and just put live in the comments? And if you're watching on a replay, please put replay in the comments. All we ask for is engagement. Appreciate you guys. Keep going, brother. This is awesome.
Yeah. So, and even since I've been on salary with a client, like, I was at the top of my field salary wise, and then that has gone up, and I'm not leaving my client because I love who I work for, and I have integrity and morals, and I'm not gonna go back to him and like, hey, well, the industry says. I'm not doing that. I really like my client. I like my job security. I like where I'm at, but if I was to leave today, I could go get 30,000 more a year with any other client, because that's how crazy this industry got as private chef.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's quite incredible. So tell me about, real quick, what's one of the greatest struggles that you have ever went through professionally, and how'd you get through it?
You know, I think the biggest struggle, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs would agree with this, is going from that point where you are employed by somebody else and then you become your own boss. And the anxiety that, like, I never knew what anxiety was until I had to be my own boss. And it's heavy. So that transformation to be being your own boss, like, I have a cookie company now that I've been running, basically, like, everywhere I go. I travel as a private chef, so I have to hire bakers, and my branding and marketing team is in New York, and my boxes come from South Carolina, and my tissue paper comes from Northern California, and it's like managing all of that when it was like, hey, you have to be at work at 4:00. Okay, I'm there at 4:00. Like, that transition, I think, is the hardest part for anybody that wants to be an entrepreneur. And, you know, I think the best advice for that is it doesn't matter. You're gonna get it done. Just as long as you're moving forward. When you're your own boss, you're your own boss. If you're late, guess that's on you.
Mm-hmm.
Does that upset customers? It might. So guess what? You probably shouldn't be late. But it's on you to be there on time, right? It's on you to get those orders out. And you got to be creative. For me, the creative way I did it with the cookie, because I work as a private chef 5 days a week, on my website, my cookies are baked on Sunday, shipped on Monday. Because Sunday, I always know that's my day off.
Right.
I can bake cookies. And if I get a lot of orders, I call a baker. She comes in on Wednesdays. She makes a bunch of dough. So then when I come home, and on Sundays, when I go into the bakery, on Sunday, I got dough ready, and I can just make dough, get them out on Monday. So I've created my own kind of like leeway, right? So I think it's like with that, when you have a small business, you got to think about what you can do and how to manage that, and then you can grow from there. It's like, now I'm actually getting cookies out every day of the week because I feel okay. The anxiety's gone. I know I can get them out. I know I can jump in the bakery early in the morning, get the cookies out before noon, and go to work and not jeopardize my private chef gig.
Right.
So it's a mentality thing. I think, like someone posted earlier, it's a mindset. If you want it, it's a mindset.
So what accomplishment are you most proud of so far?
Man, that's a good question. Well, to this question that just popped up real quick, I do hire other chefs, and I place them with clients because COVID was so busy. I had so many people calling. I have placed chefs, taken a booking fee, but it's hard because sometimes you place a chef and then that chef fucks up and then it looks bad on you.
Or they don't show up or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a great
its own business.
income.
There's own liabilities that are associated with it. Your name is tied to it, right?
Yeah. So it's a great idea. I've done it. The outcome is not always great. Sorry, what was your question again?
The accomplishment that you're most proud of.
I think, honestly, just getting to a point where I don't have to worry about finances anymore, because I did it all on my own. Obviously I had support from family, like mentally, and I had support from family with encouragement. And, you know, like my friends and my wife have all just been there, but to really, and I kind of get emotional talking about it
I love it.
because I know where I was, you know, and getting over that hump and like literally like I can go to any restaurant in Los Angeles, doesn't matter. I can show up and like I took my wife to Nobu for our anniversary and I said to the server, like, give us the Kanye shit. Like I don't want just what's on the menu. Like I want the secret shit. You know, like to be able to do that, that's all I've ever wanted. And to be there, like to me, it's not about like the big fancy house. I have my dream car. It's about going out in the world and experiencing it. And and that's where I'm at, you know, so it feels good. What about you? What was your big accomplishment?
The accomplishment that I'm most proud of is still being alive with 6 kids, 6 boys. I'm deferring a little bit, obviously, because this is about you. But listen, I know that you can't tell us what happens in season 12. If you can answer this question for me, you might even have to avoid some shit. What's next for Chef Derrick Fox? What's next for you?
That's a good question. You know, before MasterChef season 12 called, I was already gearing up to put all this shit in order. You can see the cookie here. I've been working on this. I ship nationwide. I started my podcast.
Put the website back up, please.
I started my podcast, A Bunch of Losers with Derrick Fox, and that was all like already brewing. And then MasterChef called, and MasterChef's kind of been the icing on the cake right now. When I really thought like that would be like the big thing, but I have so much going on. I'm just riding the wave. I have some ideas. You know, one day down the line, I really want to open a basically like a supper club, like a public supper club called the Fox Den. I want it to be like 10 seats, a chef's table only kind of thing. Me and like 2 other chefs, and we do like 15-course dinners. I really, really, really want to do that. But it's about the right time and the right place. I was getting ready to do it before, like that 6 months before when I went private. 6 months before that, I was actually looking at a space, and it fell through, and luckily it did because I would have lost everything. But we learned with COVID how fragile the food industry is. And so I'm waiting to figure out the right time, right place for that. I'm even thinking of probably somewhere in Texas. I'm in California, my hometown. You're in my hometown, Florida. But I visited Austin about 6 months ago, and I just fell in love with Austin. Aside from all the hype, I know there's a lot of hype around Austin right now.
It's a beautiful, beautiful town.
Yeah, that wasn't why I went there. I went there to just visit a friend, and I fell in love with Austin. So I think if I do I want to open my cookie company into a brick and mortar, because right now we're all just direct to consumer. And I want to do the Fox Den, but it's all about the right time. And I'm in no rush because I learned it's better to just ride the wave than try and force things. That's another thing. When you feel like you're forcing it in any kind of, like when you're in sales or you're in any kind of a relationship or whatever it is, if you're forcing it, you mess it up. So I'm just riding the wave right now.
I'll tell you what, there's been a couple things I've forced and I wish that I hadn't, and they cost me a lot of freaking money. A lot of freaking money. That's for sure. Hey, man, is there anything else that you want to say to the people out there before we wrap this thing up?
I saw a question come up. Was it something about Gordon Ramsay? I don't know.
Yeah, what's it like working with Gordon Ramsay? Hey, I got a question. Is he a super jerk, or is he really cool?
Here's the thing. Gordon is super passionate. He runs a food empire. He's worth $250 million. And to be a chef worth that, all the restaurants that he has, all the Michelin stars that he has, all the TV shows that he doesn't waste a movement. I'm not even talking a step. I'm talking a movement. Everything is with purpose.
Precision.
Just such precision. And from every word to every piece of hair is in the right place at the right time with him. So if he's upset at you, like on Hell's Kitchen or on MasterChef, if he's upset at you, it's because you're fucking up. And the best thing to do is say, yes, chef, and learn from him, because he's giving you Michelin star advice. And if you don't take that if you don't take that Michelin star advice and you go back to doing whatever you were doing that he didn't like, you are going to piss him off. And it's just that. So everything with him is with intention. He's very passionate. He's also so nice. I mean, there are moments that I've had with him where, you know, we've had hugs and high fives, and he's just an inspiration for sure.
He's one for me for sure. I think he's an incredible human being, and anybody who has mastered that craft like that is also going to have a low tolerance for bullshit. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So he doesn't want to be around anybody that's not going to put 100% effort in. Right?
Yeah. And I've known that, and I think anyone that understands what it takes to be someone like him understands that. So when I was on MasterChef, if he asked me a question or if he gave me a critique, I did not give him bullshit. I would just say, yes, chef, whether I disagreed or not, because whatever I think, it's not as important as what he thinks. So why do I want to upset this dude? Right? So yeah, there was a moment in season 6 when he was like, I did this really amazing dish, and he was like, I wish you wouldn't have put the whole pomegranate seed on the plate, because I wanted a little pop of color, and so I put on this pomegranate seed, and he gave me shit for it. And he was like, I wish you would have done that. I don't want to bite on the pomegranate seed, whatever. And I was like, okay, yes, chef. And then literally the next day on his Instagram is a cheesecake covered in pomegranate seeds. And I was like,
bro, you stealing.
It was one of those do as I say, not as I do moments.
Yeah. I love it. That's it. So listen, if somebody wants to get cookies, they go to epicmegacookie.com, right? How could somebody reach out to you if they wanted to have you come out and do a dinner for them? And it's not going to be cheap, just so you guys know. And I want to do something with you. I want to have you come out to one of our VIP events. Hopefully we can make a date work or something like that. And at one of our VIP events, I'd love to have you come out and plate some stuff up for us. You'll have to bring plates, though. I can promise you that.
We'll order the plates, but it's going on your credit card.
That's totally fine. Good with it.
No, right now is really difficult because all my free time is taken up by this cookie and by my podcast. And then I do a lot of charity work too. I think when you do have a spotlight on you, you got to give back. So I do a lot of stuff for cancer research, because we all know somebody that's been affected by that. So, you can reach out to me. I do read my DMs, so you can message me on Chef Derrick Fox Instagram or Chef Derrick Fox Facebook, if you want to do a dinner. And then just got to be flexible because my time is extremely limited right now. But we can make it happen.
Sounds freaking awesome, man. I appreciate that. Hey, listen, I super appreciate you coming on the show. We definitely went long today. You predicted it. It wasn't a 30
I told you, I'm a
show.
talker, man. I love to tell stories. I love to really get into it. I don't think that there's a reason for interviews for quick sound bites like on the talk shows. It's about really sharing your story, your journey, and learning. So, Gene, thank you for having me on. It was great to virtually meet you. When I'm in town, I'll let you know. I am going to try and do something in Florida on June 29th. I'm working with the radio right now. We're
Yeah, Brittany says that's my birthday.
dope.
30th,
We're
so we'll be
working
out
it
of
out.
town.
We're gonna try and do a viewing party because on the 29th an episode airs. So yeah, awesome.
Sounds awesome, man. Hey guys, put down in the comments for us, what one nugget did you take from this show? What was just one thing that you learned, one thing that you liked about it? And hell, maybe after the finale comes out and you win this season 12, we'll have you back on again if we can even get you. So, hey, listen, man, I hope that you won. Who knows whether or not you did or not, but thank you for coming on the show and dropping all of the nuggets that you did for everybody. It was just full of gold. So I appreciate it.
Thanks, Gene.
See ya. Bye.